Hello, Andy. It's great to listen to you and learn from you. So just to introduce you, Andy Storch is the founder and CEO of Own Your Career, Own Your Life. And he will be focusing on setting up for entrepreneurial success and owning your future. We're very interested in hearing what you'll be telling us about this. So please, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, James. And thank you everybody for being here. Really excited to talk with you today. And we have a short amount of time, and I'm going to try to cover a lot of things to give you some different things to think about as you are starting out or getting into your entrepreneurial journey. As James mentioned, my name is Andy Storch. I'm an entrepreneur. I am also an author, a speaker, consultant of many things. Let me make sure I've got my slides up here. So I speak a lot inside of large companies to employees, a lot of corporate employees, about how to take ownership of your career based on my book, Own Your Career, Own Your Life. But I've taken that and I'm tailoring it today to talk about entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur for a few years now. It's something that I love. I'm absolutely passionate about, but it's not for everybody, which is why I am on a mission to help everybody take ownership of their careers and find happiness and fulfillment in their life. And part of that is doing the things that will help set you up for future success, because we can't really predict the future. We don't know what might be coming around the bend, but there are certain things we can do to set ourselves up for future success. These are things that I'm doing all the time that I have found to be beneficial to me time and time again since I got really focused and serious about owning my career and my life. It wasn't always this way. I was drifting a lot through my 20s and early 30s through parts of my career where I wasn't really focused and doing the things that would help set me up for future success. But there were a lot of things along the way that did help me, and I'll talk about those. And I want to give you my best advice in this short amount of time about how to own your career and really set yourself up for success as an entrepreneur. So this is really more focused on entrepreneurship for this summit, which is why I put that on the bottom for entrepreneurs. Who I am very quickly, as James mentioned, an author, speaker, consultant, coach. I wrote the book, Own Your Career, Own Your Life. I do a lot of speaking and training inside of large companies. I consider myself a connector and bridge builder. I've been working on building a big network for a long time. I know a lot of great people, and I love having many friends all over the place. I also host 3 podcasts. One is called the Talent Development Hot Seat. That's all about corporate talent development. One is called Own Your Career Show for career development. And I also started a show in November called My NFT Journey, as I got really deep into the NFT world and Web3, which is something that I'm endlessly fascinated about. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, it's something that you probably should be paying attention to as well. I run a membership community and a conference in the talent development space. I have the book, and I'm based in sunny Orlando, Florida. So, a few questions to start to kind of ground us in this presentation. Who is this for? What is the problem? And why are we here? Well, we've already talked about who this is for, right? This is for entrepreneurs, particularly young entrepreneurs. If you're kind of getting started, you're trying to figure out, how do I become a successful entrepreneur? I can tell you that when I was in my 20s, I had a strong desire to be an entrepreneur, and I couldn't figure out how to do it successfully. I was part of a couple different startups. I started a couple different companies early in my 20s, and they all failed. Nothing worked out very well. So I have experience with entrepreneurship early on and with failure. When I went to business school, I went back to school and got my MBA, and I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I took classes on entrepreneurship, and I still couldn't figure out what the heck I was doing and what I wanted to do. Sorry? Oh, I still couldn't figure out what I wanted to do and how I could be successful as an entrepreneur. And I went back to work in the corporate world for many years before I figured it out. And I'm sharing that with you because it's not a perfect line or story for anybody out there. This is for anybody who's trying to figure that out, who's learning as much as they can. And I want to encourage you to try as much as you can. The problem is a lot of people either are not prepared, don't know what they're doing. They're drifting through their career, kind of operating in reaction mode, waiting for other people to tell them what to do, whether it be their boss, their parents, their friends, or anybody else in their life. They're waiting. Someone please tell me what to do because I don't know what to do. Right? That's the big problem. The other problem is people don't necessarily have the skills or capability, or they don't know which path to follow, which is a real big problem. It was a problem for me as well. And why we're here is because You obviously want to learn how to become a successful entrepreneur. I want to give you some skills and tools that can help you. There are so many great sessions throughout this summit that will complement this presentation and give you all kinds of different skills and lessons and advice on how to become an entrepreneur. And hopefully you'll take a couple things away from each one that will help set you up for future success. Now, the 5 steps I'm going to cover today on how to set yourself up for success as an entrepreneur is setting a vision, following your curiosity, taking control of your future, shifting your mindset, and being willing to pivot. And I'm going to dive into those and remind you that you can find more information on all of this in my book, which is called Own Your Career, Own Your Life. It's available on Amazon. And I'm going to share with you at the end a link for some free resources, as well as an opportunity to go deeper with a course that I have if you're interested. Now, the foundation for all of this, I believe that the foundation for owning your career and owning your life and being successful as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as anything, is self-awareness. And so many people are lacking in this area because they're not willing to take the time to really understand who they are and what they might be successful in. Now, we can always learn and grow and get better in every area, but who are you and what do you truly want to do with your career and with your life? Because you have many, many options. And a lot of times we fall into a certain path based on what our parents told us to do, what degree we signed up for in college, or classes in high school or college, or what our friends recommended, that sort of thing. And that's okay. Today and going forward is about taking control of your future. And I believe it starts with self-awareness. So self-awareness is understanding who you are. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your values? What are your priorities? What's important to you? What energizes you? What gets you excited? What do your friends tell you that you're good at? What do you want to try to do more of? And where do you want to go with your career or your business? And the first way, people always ask me, like, how do I develop this? Well, the thing that's missing for a lot of people is they're not taking the time to reflect on this. So the easy answer, it's simple, not so easy, I guess you would say, is to find time to sit down with a cup of coffee or tea and a notebook and a pen and write down the answers to some of these questions. Who are you? How did you get where you are? What do you like about your current situation? What do you not like about your situation? What are your strengths, the things that you're great at? What are your weaknesses, the things that you really could get better at, right? What are your values, the things that are most important to you? What are your priorities? What are your energizers, the things that make you excited? And what do you want to do more of in the future? And what are you really curious about? What do you want to learn about? As you gain more awareness of who you are and how other people are reacting to you, you can get better as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, as all kinds of things, because you can build on that. And then you can maybe even find other people, partners, who can complement you in areas that maybe you're not good at. I've run a business on my own and I've hired people to complement my weaknesses. I've partnered with people in business to complement my weaknesses and take advantage of their strengths. So this is a really good thing to be aware of and not just think, oh, I can do anything on my own. We're going to talk about that. Okay, the 5 steps to owning your career and preparing for the future as an entrepreneur. Step 1, after you've built that level of foundation, that level of self-awareness, is a set a vision and connect to a purpose. Now, the vision is simply, where do you want to go? It's that age-old question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And nobody has the exact answer to this, and things can change. But at the same time, pilots don't get into the cockpit of a plane without knowing exactly where they're going to fly. You probably rarely get into your car and start driving without knowing exactly where you want to go. Things might come up. There might be an accident or a roadblock that you have to go around, but you know where you want to go. And what I have found is that the more clarity I have on the vision for where I want to go with my career, the easier it is to respond to the different situations that might come up along the way. So you get a job offer, a promotion offer, you get laid off, a friend invites you to partner with them on a business, some other new opportunity comes up that sounds really cool, but you have to ask yourself, does it fit in with your vision? And if it does not, then it's easier to pass on that and stay focused on where you're going. And if it does, then you jump all over it. And I find that if you don't have this clarity, then I end up hemming and hawing and spending forever trying to decide when something comes up, versus when I have the clarity, I just know this fits in my vision or it doesn't fit in my vision. And again, we know things might change. That's okay. But when you set that vision, you know where you're going. then you can start setting goals. You can start taking action on a regular basis. And I believe that it's taking that action and making regular progress that's really, really, really going to help set you up for success later on. Even if you're going in kind of the quote unquote wrong direction, you're going to learn a lot from that. You're going to develop a lot of things along the way that'll help set you up for success in future endeavors. Now, the next thing is connecting to a purpose, which is to know why you're doing what you're doing. So many people have set goals based on other people's goals. They see, oh, my friend John is trying to start this type of business, so let me try to do something like that too. No, you need to figure out what's right for you and be able to answer the question, why are you running this business? Why are you starting this business? Why are you going to work every day? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? It's that purpose behind it. And when you know the why, and this idea of why and purpose was made very famous by Simon Sinek in his famous TED Talk about the 3 golden circles. And he has a book called Find Your Why. Many other resources out there on that. But when you know that why, it's easier to overcome the challenges on the days where you feel stuck or you feel lazy. You just don't feel like doing it anymore. When you can connect back to that purpose, I'm building this because I want to build a future that will help, allow me more freedom, or I want to make a bigger impact on the world. I want to help people with this type of thing. That will help push you through those challenges. Once you know your vision and your purpose, it's important to make a plan, right? Have a plan, an idea of where you want to go. Going back to that pilot, knowing where they want to fly the plane, they have an exact plan for how they get there. When you get in your car and you're going to drive somewhere, you probably have a plan, whether you're looking at Google Maps or you know the route by memory. You have a plan for how you're going to get there. And what I've learned throughout my career in trying to do things and having these dreams of achieving certain success, excuse me, is that without a plan, there's not much success. And a goal without a plan is really just a wish. So a goal without a plan is really just a wish. So you might have a big goal or vision. Until you have a plan in place, it's probably not going to happen. When I was a kid, my dream was to be a professional baseball player. And I played Little League baseball, but I never really had a plan for how I would get to the next level. And I didn't make it. I kind of quit. I dropped out in high school. And I'm sad about that, because I know that if I had had more of a plan, I might have gone further. Now, I don't think I was that great. I was kind of a mediocre player, but I never even gave myself a chance because I didn't have a clear plan for how to get there, just as an example. Now, don't be afraid to ask for help. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. Don't try to do everything on your own. And then number 5 here is take full responsibility. Remember that you own your career. Nobody else does. So you've got to be the one to take action, to set that vision, to connect to a purpose, to make a plan, to set goals, and to take action on a regular basis, to manage your time and set your priorities, and just take that full responsibility. When things come up, how can you take responsibility and make the best of the situation instead of being a victim and blaming other people? So quick question for those of you, if you're active in the chat, would love to know, do you have a vision for your career? Just drop an answer in the chat. If you're watching this, do you have an idea of where you want to go with your career or your business, or what type of business you're trying to work on? You can even drop that vision in the chat if you want. Maybe other people can help you with that, can connect with you on it. I've got one person, Sahas Rajit, I hope I'm saying that name right, says yes. For everybody else, do you have a vision for where you want to go with your career, with your business, with your life? It's very helpful. You may not know exactly. It's okay, right? But we're going to try to figure that out as soon as you can, so you can start moving towards something. Heidi says, I have an idea, but it's still pretty vague. That's okay. Once you have that idea, you can start fleshing that out. You can start journaling about it. You can start talking to friends and colleagues about it and getting feedback. And then you can start making a plan and moving towards it, and then collecting feedback along the way and seeing, like, is this working for me, or is this something that I want to change? Eddie says, not really. And that's okay. Now's the time to really start thinking about that. And the next thing we're going to talk about will help you support that and finding where you want to go. G says, I have a vision. I'll start a VR and metaverse consulting company. I love it. Web3 in the house. Heidi says, I just purchased your book, so I am hoping it will help. Well, thank you so much, Heidi. If anybody else wants to jump on that, Own Your Career, Own Your Life, it's on Amazon. And I do think it will help. And this is about figuring out where you want to go. And that's okay. I've had multiple visions in my career, and it has changed. My vision has absolutely changed over time for where I want to go. And that's why I think number 2 is very important, especially if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, which is to follow your curiosity. Now, we hear so much this old adage of follow your passion and you'll never work a day in your life. But what if you don't know what your passion is? Or what if your passion is painting and you don't think you can make very much money from it? Well, I am a bigger fan of the idea of following your curiosity. What are you curious about? If you're curious about Web3 and the metaverse, maybe you look into starting a business there, right? Take some classes on that. If you're curious about something else in the world, start looking into it, and maybe there is a business idea there. Maybe there's a career for you there. Maybe there's a vision for you there. You can start networking and taking classes and learning. Follow your curiosity. This is the young entrepreneur world. If you are young, and I still consider myself young, I'm 42. I believe if you're as young as me or younger, we have plenty of time to try different things, right? You have a lot of time. And if you have time, you have possibilities, you have opportunities to try all kinds of different stuff. So the question is, what are you curious about? What do you want to learn about? And figure out what those things are. Add that to your list to start journaling about tomorrow morning or later on after this. Make a list of 10, 20 things and what's realistic for you to pursue and learn about. Melissa said she's going to join her mom's real estate business. That's awesome. Maybe that's not something that you're incredibly passionate about, but there's an opportunity there. Maybe you're curious about it and you can start learning about it and, do it for a year or 2 or 3 and see, is this where I want to go with my career? Or do I want to do something different? And that's okay, right? We have time. Number 3 is prepare for the future. We're going to talk about 3 things in here to set yourself up for future success: investing in yourself, building your network, and building your brand. I'm a big fan and proponent of investing in continuous learning. I think the old days of getting a college degree and working in that field for 30 years, if you even get the college degree or the master's degree, those are over, right? We've got to keep learning to stay relevant because times are changing fast, right? We've got Web3 coming up and going on, blockchain technology, all kinds of new things. COVID completely changed the world and the way we work. Technology is changing things all the time. So things you can do to invest in continuous learning, stay up on latest learning. If you work in a company, there's probably company resources you can take advantage of. There's online courses, podcasts, books and audiobooks, conferences and summits like this. You can get a formal degree. YouTube is like the great place to learn almost anything you want to do, right? I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all day long. I think it's underrated, even if there's millions of people on there, because there's so many people teaching stuff in business that they've been learning and they've been doing. And I think we can learn a lot about the latest trends and what is going on. Yajit said, I'm taking online classes from the University of London, which is great. Like take those classes and follow that curiosity. And then related to that, especially if you are an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, you don't have a big company that is sending you through some development program, then you've got to be willing to invest in yourself. I mean, money and time. You've got to be willing to invest in yourself. It's hard sometimes, especially when you're starting out and you don't have very much money, but instead of putting that money into fun stuff like concerts and sporting events, or even a 401k, you might want to consider investing in coaching or finding a mentor or joining a mastermind group or going to a conference or joining a summit like this, joining seminars or online communities, paid communities. I'm a member of many of those. I run an online community, going through training or online courses. I've done every single thing on this list. I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in my own development over the last few years, and it has all absolutely paid off to get me to where I am today and set me up for future success. So I'm a big fan of investing in yourself, both time and money. It's hard when you're starting out. It's hard even when you're later in your career. A lot of people don't want to do it, but I am a big fan of this. And I find that it almost always pays off when you go into it with the right intention and you take advantage of what you're investing in, and you are, you're going all in on something. I'm going to pay for this online course and I'm going to do every module and I'm going to write down and I'm going to take action on it, right? Or I'm going to join this mastermind group and I'm going to show up every single week or every month, however long it meets, right? I'm going to go to this conference. Heidi says, I started looking into different options on YouTube. I go to school part-time and work full-time and have a family. So podcasts and audiobooks are a must. Yeah, absolutely. And everybody has a different schedule and a different set of responsibilities. I have 2 kids myself and a family and business and all kinds of stuff, right? So I do learning when I can, but I read every morning. I listen to a podcast almost every day. And like I said, I'm in a mastermind group. I hire coaches and mentors. I'm in an online community. I run a community. These things have all been so beneficial. I make time for this on a regular basis, even though I've got a lot going on. The next thing to set yourself up for future success is build your network, right? We hear so much about this. It's pretty obvious. I'm sure many of you know about it. You're doing it. But if you're not, if you're shy, if you don't feel like it, or you're not drawn to it, and feel free to answer in the chat. How do you feel about networking? I would encourage you to look for opportunities to make time for this anyway. Whether you're doing it in person or online. We'll talk about places in just a second. I'm watching time because we really don't have a lot of time and I have so much stuff to talk about because I get so excited about these things. LinkedIn is a great one. Lucy said, I'll send you a connection request on LinkedIn, and go connect with Lucy on LinkedIn, go connect with each other on LinkedIn. I'm going to skip to where to network. There are networking mixers, right? They're in person and online. There are conferences and summits like this one. There are online groups. Like I said, I've been a member of many paid communities and I connect with all those people and I've made many great friends. I've made a lot of great connections and friends through LinkedIn. So get on LinkedIn, connect with people. Feel free to send me a connection request or hit follow, and start connecting with each other and set up calls, right? And get to know each other and build relationships, because you never know where that relationship might lead to, right? You might find a co-founder for your company. You might meet your future boss or employee. You might just make a great friend, someone that you want to chat with on a regular basis. And I'm meeting people all the time on social media. Himanshi just put a link to their LinkedIn profile in the chat. So that's excellent. How to network. When you do connect with somebody really quickly, you got to be proactive, especially in our virtual world. We're not out in person as much as we used to be. So you got to seek people out, find them. LinkedIn is where I do a lot of that, but you can do it in other places. Make sure you lead with curiosity. Try to get to know people. Try to understand them. Remember, people enjoy talking about themselves, even if they say they don't. So if you're willing to ask them questions to get to know them, they're going to like you more. Seek to add value to everybody you meet. Try to give before you take, right? Give before you ask for things. You may need to follow up, especially if it's someone who's very, quote, busy, right? Or you're trying to connect with a founder, executive, whatever, like follow up a few times, and keep in touch with people, because you never know, like the timing may not be right to talk or connect or partner right now, but 6 or 18 months down the line, something may come up. So I'm always connecting with people and keeping in touch and having conversations, because you never know where it might lead. We talked about where to network. The last thing on preparing for the future is to build your personal brand. I'm not going to spend very much time on this. I just want you to be aware of this. Your personal brand is essentially your reputation. It's what people think and say about you, especially when you're not in the room. And everybody has a reputation, whether they are intentional about it or not. Everybody has a personal brand, whether they're intentional about it or not. And so I'm a proponent of being intentional about your personal brand. Now, that doesn't mean being fake. I'm a big fan and proponent of authenticity, right? I am who I am. I want you to be who you are, even online on social media. But you can be intentional and be aware of how you're showing up and build your brand in how you show up, how you interact with other people, how hard you work, how you collaborate, right? How you treat other people is a big, big factor, right? And then of course, how you show up online on social media. Do you share content? Do you comment on other people's content? I share content almost every single day on LinkedIn. I'm always looking for ways to support people in my network with their content. And that, I believe, continues to build my brand. I also share on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook pretty much daily as well. But LinkedIn is like the number one for me because I'm in the corporate space. So figure out what your number one social media platform is as well, and spend time there. I'm still trying to figure out TikTok, by the way, but I am on there. Okay. This is really important. We don't have a lot of time left, but mindset is everything. I believe that mindset is very, very important on your entrepreneurial journey, your career journey. Your mindset is essentially your perspective. It's your outlook on life. It's how you view the world, and how you view the world is going to be your reality. It's going to impact your ability to face challenges, to turn challenges into opportunities, something I've done many times in my career. And I think if you do work on that mindset, especially developing a growth mindset, which comes from a book called Mindset, The New Psychology for Success by Dr. Carol Dweck. I wrote a chapter about this in my book. And of course, you can go get that mindset book as well. And essentially, the growth mindset, and I see you coming back on here, James, the growth mindset is that we believe we can always get better. We can always learn from opportunities, and it's okay to try things and fail. Einstein made many mistakes and failed many times. Thomas Edison found like 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb work, but we only remember him because of the one big success, right? Both of them for the big successes they had. It's okay to try things and make mistakes and fail. We just, as long as we learn from those and we keep moving on, that's operating with a growth mindset will treat you so well as a entrepreneur. So forget perfection, just be curious, try things constantly, focus on what's in your control, be curious, try to turn challenges, opportunities. Remember, there's no failure, and life is a journey. And so the last thing is just be willing to pivot, because we talked about setting that vision and all these things. But stuff is going to come up, challenges are going to come up, new opportunities are going to come up. And we've just got to be willing to pivot and take care of ourselves and work on setting ourselves up for success. All right, I'm going to skip a few slides here. Just go to my takeaways. Number one is set a vision and be intentional to know where you want to go in your career. Work on that. Number two is do some things to prepare for your future, like investing in yourself, building your network, and building your brand. Number three, remember, mindset is absolutely critical. It's very, very important. So work on developing your mindset through all kinds of different things. The bonus is make sure you take ownership of your life, right? Eat healthy, get some exercise, get enough sleep. Take care of your body and your mind. I meditate every single day, and I find that all of those things allow me to be more productive, to get more done. And I believe they're going to allow me to work much longer as well. So I'm a big, big fan of those things. James, I know we're coming up on the bottom of the hour here.
We are reaching the end.
Do we have time for some questions? I also have some resources that I can share as well, but I want to make sure we don't go too far over.
Well, what would be best is give them the best way to connect with you, either an email or LinkedIn or whatever, so that we can follow up with questions, and questions can always be forwarded.
Absolutely. So a couple things. Number one, I've got free resources, bonus resources available. If you go to my website, andystorch.com/YEW, I'm going to put that in the chat, and hopefully that link works. You can go there and you'll get the 5 steps to owning your career, my morning routine, morning affirmations, all kinds of things that are in there. I also have an online course that goes deeper in all these things that you can get access to going through that way. And then, yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, on social media. I'm active on LinkedIn, Instagram, there every day. Very good.
Wow, there's so much useful and important information in everything you've said. I hope people will get in touch. It's really a very convincing presentation you made. You did at the beginning say something about NFT. If we have time, I'd love to get into that, but that would be another time.
That's a whole other topic. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So Andy, thank you so much for your presence, for your so much insights, and we look forward to staying in touch and talking again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, James. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. Go out and own your career. Remember, nobody else cares more about your career than you do. So you've got to be the one to own it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.